Before I came to UCC, it was just like my life was it was just very complicated. Every situation I faced, every challenge that came up against me, I just didn't know how to handle it. It was like a burden, very, very stressful. And my life, growing up with both my parents being sick like all my life, my mom suffering from depression, my dad, heart problems, at a very young age, I was forced to like just grow up and have responsibility. My siblings, the household, everything. So I never really had a chance to like live. It was all about everyone around me. My parents, my siblings, family members, so it was just like, it came to that point where I felt like I was going to lose my mind, because I was lost. I didn't know who I was, where I was headed. I know what I wanted in life, but there was no one helping me, and being born into Islam and growing up that way, you're just basically following the religion, following the elders, whatever they were doing, but no one ever explained who's the God that we're praying to. Where does your help come from? I had no idea. So I was just following everyone. And, meeting my friend Tasha in 10th grade, it was just like, I don't know, God puts people in your life for a reason, and I felt like she was put there for a reason. We became friends. Even when I first met her, she was like a devoted Hindu at the time. And I admired her. I was like, wow, for someone our age to worship God the way she does and with all her heart and knowing exactly, what she was doing. And I was like, this is the type of people I need to surround myself by. Someone who knows where their help is coming from. But then she, after she met Deacon Brooks and he introduced her to Jesus, she never left my side. She was always there advising me and helping me through my situations. So she brought me to UCC. And it was like, at first, it was difficult for me because coming from Islam into Christianity, it's a big difference. Because I came out of a religion or a family lifestyle where you're restricted all your life from everything. Even as a young lady growing up, even shaking hands with a gentleman, it's forbidden. You don't do things like that. There's no real like, how should I say, like, you don't express yourself to anyone, like, there's no welcoming attitudes, things like that. I mean, of course, the way your parents raise you is different from the society, but when you're surrounded by that society, that's all you're all about, I was very serious. I didn't know how to smile. I didn't know how to laugh. I didn't know how to be free. And coming to UCC, it was just like, the more I kept coming, I found like every service was all about me. Every situation that I was facing, everything that I was going through. I felt like Apostle or First Lady or Reverend Nicholson, whoever was preaching, like they were speaking directly to me in my situation. And there were times where Tasha and I would leave church and we'd go home and be on the phone for hours talking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this for real? Are they in my head? Like, they know exactly what I'm going through. And at first, I was very dependent on her. Like, when she would be coming to church, she'll call me and say, Nafeezah, I'm going to church. Are you going? I'm like, yeah, But there was one day where I felt like I needed to be here. And she called me and she was like, I'm not going today. So I was like, man, I really want to go to church. So I called a cab and I came by myself. I came in and I sat down and I'm like, at first I was a little uncomfortable being by myself, but I was like, wow, that feeling just went away and I felt really good. I can't express it, but the feeling that I got is like, I belong here. And after that day, I just kept coming, with or without Tasha. I just kept coming. I brought my kids. I just kept coming because I felt like this is where my help is. Anyone else that I spoke to outside, family members, no one ever helped me through anything or advised me. They just want to know what you're going through, to like either talk behind your back or laugh at you. But when I came here, it was like every situation that came up against me, there was always someone to help. And my situation always got better whatever it was. It just took me to that next higher level. You know, I was in denial about being depressed myself. I didn't know that I was going through a depression myself. And, you know, I kept hearing about, if you're going through anything, seek counsel. So I did. One day, it got to that breaking point where, you know, my mom's therapist was telling me, you know, that they offer family counseling also. And I was like, I can't believe like she's telling me this, you know. So I came to the administrative office and I spoke to Minister Kelly, and she told me, just, you know, set up an appointment with the First Lady, and I did. And I sat with her and I told Mom everything that I was going through. And at the time, I felt like I had control of my situation. You know, that I knew everything, that what I was going through, that I had control over it, I was handling it. But the more and more I kept talking to her, I realized that I was going downhill. Every corner I turned, everything I did, there was no positive outcome from it. It was just more stress being added, more anxiety. You know, it was just, I wasn't getting anywhere. And I told Mom what the doctor had told me, that, you know, they offer counseling. And I'm like, well, I said I didn't want to go to a doctor. You know, I know that I can get help in a different way, because I've seen what my parents have gone through, being medicated, and, you know, just all they do is write your prescription and put you on medication all the time. And Mom looked at me and she said, well, you do know that I'm a doctor. And I was like, I know they call you Dr. Elizabeth, but I'm not sure what type of a doctor you are. And she told me, and I was like, well, I'm glad that I came for a prescription of prayers. And that she looked at me and she told me that, don't worry, everything is going to be all right. And those words have stuck with me all through, every single day, every situation that I come up against. I always think of Mom and what she said to me, that everything is going to be all right. And she prayed me through my situation. And I remember after my counseling section, that the following Sunday, I didn't come to church that day. I was sitting at home, and I was going, you know, preparing for the following week with the kids. I was doing laundry, and Tasha calls me and she goes, Nafeezah, where are you? So I told her what I was doing. I'm getting up my laundry and stuff, and she goes, Apostle just called your name. And I was like, what? Me? Are you sure it's me? She said, yeah, you're the only Mohamed in UCC. I said, okay, like, why? She said, he's praying for you. You know, he called you up for prayers. So my husband looked at me and he goes, what's wrong? And I said, Apostle just called my name and I'm not there. And he goes, come on, get dressed, let's go. In 10 minutes, we were here. And that's something I never expected from my husband. You know, to be like, well, you have to go to church, let's go. So I came, and I was the last one up there for prayers. And Apostle prayed for me. And he prayed for my depression to go away, to leave me. And at the moment, I was a little embarrassed because, of course, you know, you don't want people to know what you're going through. And coming from where I came from, being very secluded and very private with everything, I wasn't comfortable about telling anybody about what I was going through. But I can testify that very moment that he prayed for me, I felt that burden being lifted. I felt free. I was so overwhelmed with emotions. I didn't care who was watching, who was listening. I was praising God. And I'm very, very thankful for everything, because from that day, that was a turning point in my life. Everything that I faced, you know, from almost losing my home to going through my struggles with my children, my mother's sickness, everything that I have to face on an everyday basis, I know that everything is going to be all right. Because I'm here, I'm a kingdom child, I'm a member of UCC. My husband and I were in a terrible car accident. Our car was totaled in 2012. And we survived, like, only by the grace of God. Everything, the car, the entire front of the car, even on the inside, the gear stick, all the airbags, everything deployed. And my husband and I, we spent that 10 hours that I would have spent at work, I spent it in the hospital that day, and I was able to be home the regular time that I would have left my job and come home. I felt like God gave me a second chance at life because He knows what He has planned for me and for my family. And I have two kids that I love more than anything in this world, and I would do anything for my kids. And I'm praising God for saving me, for saving my life, for bringing me here, the UCC, and everyone. I mean, the brothers and sisters and mom and dad, I can't imagine life without anyone here. I was 18 when my father passed away, and I felt like I wouldn't make it through life. I didn't know because he was my best friend. He helped me through everything. And I came, and when I met Apostle, and I was like, I saw the values of UCC, and it's everything my father taught us all our life. And education is number one. And when I saw that printed there, I was like, the smile and the way he speaks to the congregation and the way he encourages everyone to just do better. And no matter what situation you're facing, there's always help. That this is the right place. And I felt like I was in the right place at the right time. There was a time in my life where I didn't depend on my husband for anything, or I didn't look at him as the head of the house. I just took control, and I always had that control. And after he, started getting more involved, and I saw his transformation himself, and I was like, okay, I need to take a step back and just let my husband be who he was meant to be, the head of my life, the head of the household. The father that he is. He's a wonderful father, a wonderful husband. He's a great person. And me stepping back, it just let him be more comfortable in who he is. And his confidence was boosted, everything. It just made him a better person. And, my husband started out with dropping the kids off at practice outside the gates to slowly coming in, dropping them by the door, then he would bring them through the doors. It's just amazing to watch him transform, to see my kids grow up from babies and now they're 9 and 11 years old. It's just amazing to see their progress. And I'm very happy and very thankful for being here at UCC. And I'd like to thank everyone for the love and support that they give me, First Lady and Apostle. I'm no longer a lost soul. I was lost and in darkness and depression, and I was in denial. But for all the souls that feel that there's no help, I can testify there is help. Just keep coming, keep coming. Just being here is a blessing by itself. Just being in UCC, coming through those doors, it's a completely different feeling. The environment, the people that you're surrounded by, and it's true love. True love. And I'm very, very grateful.